We have to discuss this with us, public affairs analyst Adeboye Kalejaye. Good morning and thanks for joining us. It's been a while.
Yeah, good morning. Nice seeing your face again. It's been some break for me.
Yeah.
And good morning, viewers.
Good morning.
Thank
Well,
you.
the 2014 confab recommended the scrapping of state electoral commissions, and more individuals and institutions, including even the Senate, talking about scrapping the state electoral commissions. Where do you stand on this?
Well, to me, we must situate it appropriately. First and foremost, some Nigerians have begun to misconstrue the position as it is today. Yes, Senate had passed their own resolution. It still remains a resolution as part of the amendable clauses and sections of the Constitution, which, of course, by procedure, will still have to go to the entire States House of Assemblies all over the Federation. And then the Senate will require endorsement of two-thirds of the number of states in Nigeria to be able to make it, to be able to amend that sections of the Constitution. The question to say is that how successful will it be? They will have to pass through the various states. What is the position of the state governors? And then the question is, we're trying to reduce the over-bottlenecks, the over-concentration of power in the center. We're talking of devolution of powers. We're talking of restructuring. We're saying that the federal government is over-bottled with responsibilities that it cannot really sufficiently cope with. So now an idea to say, let's scrap the state electoral commissions and then give the INEC the supremacy to superintend over elections. What is neither here nor there. If the rich becomes poor and the poor becomes rich, poverty has come to stay. The question is not about is not about whether the state controls or the federal controls. It's about democratizing the systems of appointment. It's about curing the disease that exists within the various lapses. For instance, the INEC that is to take over this responsibility, how well has it conducted credible and fair elections in the country? Have they been able to respond adequately to the challenge that is with them? I think the solution is not about whether the state or the federal. The solution is to cure it. One, the appointment of those who superintend over the election must be reviewed in a way that you democratize it. You make the people to be part of it, not necessarily turning them into the appendages of either state governments or the federal government. Similarly, you want to understand that the president appoints the INEC chairman. So therefore, there is still some control. So what we need to do is to cure it. One, put the resources of conducting election in the first line charge. Therefore, you don't subordinate the chairman or members of the electoral commission, whether at the state or at the federal, into the hands of either the governors or
any
the
politician
presidency.
for that matter.
So that, of course, becomes very germane. To my mind, is about curing the disease, not about shifting power or shifting blames.
Okay. Well, Adeba, let me put you on hold and then get to my wall to give us a perspective of what we are talking about here, so we can see some pictorial representation of what we are saying here. Now, legislators say that they're allowing states to oversee the conduct of local government elections made a mockery of the call for autonomy. Instead, they want it's an independent National Electoral Commission to conduct local government election. And the bill also proposed the abolition of state and local government joint account, and that democratically constituted local governments receive monies directly from the federation account. Now, these are some of the three major issues when it comes to this, the prayer for this bill. Now, legislators want INEC to conduct local government elections, one, and they seek local government autonomy, two, and then they want state and local government joint account abolished. Now, these three major issues, certainly when you get to the state level, I know it's going to be a hard nut to crack because of different interests that is vested there. Now, in 2014, let's look at the local government election in 2014 in Kano. Now, Indigene of Kano State wrote to delegates of the 2014 confab requesting that them to adopt the scrapping of state electoral commissions after the ruling party in the state, the All Progressives Congress, won all 44 chairmanship and 484 councillorship seats in May 2014, the Kano State local government election. Now, this is a breakdown. Now, the local government election, if we put the councillorship and the chairmanship seats together, it amounts to about 526 posts, political posts at the local level to be occupied. And that local government election was conducted, and the ruling party, the APC, won the entire 526 seats, and all the other opposing political parties didn't win any at the councillorship, no local government in the whole 44 local government elections.
Some have even said, does it mean that the candidates themselves didn't even vote for themselves and none of their family members?
You know, so those are the questions. Now, 12 states and the Federal Capital Territory have elected chairmen and councillors, and the states, well, if we have this is just a breakdown generally. We have Sokoto State, we have Zamfara State, and in the northwest, we have Niger State, in the north central, Benue State, in the north central, we have Taraba State, Adamawa State, and Yobe State and Gombe State in a part of the northeast. We have Abia State has also conducted the local government election. We have Ondo State, we have Ogun State, and we have Lagos State. Now, some of the other states have also proposed to conduct a local government election in the coming days, and we expect all that to come through. Now, let's move ahead. Now, ruling parties in the aforementioned states that held the council polls swept every position, leaving absolutely nothing for the opposition. A development many say punctures the essence of democracy and freedom of choice by the people. Now, although almost all the incumbent governors are products of card readers, it's another phenomenon there. Now, but those that have conducted council polls in the last 2 years have refused to use the same card readers for election, because now when it comes to the voting process, now a lot of analysts have said that using the card reader to a great extent makes it a little transparent, even though it can be manipulated, but it makes it a little transparent. Yes. Different from the way it used to be, where you have to come, I write, and you have to come and I write, as the case may be. So let's move on. Let's move on to understand better, so we can round this off.
In the case of Lagos State too, the card reader was not used.
Exactly. So states that do not have elected chairmen, many 4 or more years ago, include many of the states in here. Now we have, before now in 4 years, we have Yobe State, Gombe State, Adamawa State, we have Nasarawa State, Taraba State, Ebonyi State, Kogi State, Enugu State, Anambra, Abia, Ekiti, Osun, Oyo, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, and counting. Before now, they've not had all of this. They had this caretaker committee issues, which has become a serious issue of debate across the country, whether it is known to Constitution or not. But many courts have declared that it is illegal to allow non-elective leaders to run the affairs of the 768 local government areas in the state. No, we used to have 774, but with the ceding of Bakassi to Cameroon, we now have 768 local government areas in the state. But despite this, many states have refused to comply, and the few that conducted elections in their councils left behind huge credibility deficit. It's a big one in there. Now, election that is not credible, certainly, is not free and fair in the minds of those who are the stakeholders and so on. But Adeboye, let me ask you. Adeboye, sorry.
Thank you.
When it comes to the scrapping of this whole, in fact, the composition of this bill, where the State Executive Council has to be scrapped, in your mind, even though you are disposed to it, but how successful do you think it's going to be?
Well, to my mind, I presume that it won't be an Uhuru. You see, why you have the analysis that you have given is because the state elections or the state-controlled electoral commissions that conduct local government elections are like a credibility test, a carryability test for the various governors. One, while you have a sitting governor in a particular party, it depends on how well that governor or that government has done for the people. If the government has done well for the people, it's going to be very difficult for opposition party to thrive. That becomes a major issue. It's not necessarily because there is sufficient or very much manipulations. is about carryability tests.
Okay.
Similarly, local government elections are the grassroots elections. And then so, it depends on how grassrooted you are in your various states. Those who are already in opposition are not within the grassroots brackets. They are not in control of the system. So because the state government has already taken control of the system, and if they had imparted on the people one way or the other, they are likely to have much influence. Similarly, elections is never a tea party. It requires a lot of resources. It requires you to have enough funding to be able to do your campaigns, to be able to print your T-shirts, to be able to, sensitize the electorate, move from one ward to the other, from one street to the other. It's all about resources. What normally happens is that oppositions do not have the financial muscles to be able to do all of this. And then also to go back to the electorate. The electorate are also not helping matters. The electorates don't want to vote, some of them.
But do they even know who to vote for?
No.
Do they know who to vote for at that level, at the local government
They know, because
level?
at local government, we've just conducted local government elections in Lagos, and I can tell you that candidates went round, particularly candidates of APC. They went round all the nooks and crannies because they have the wherewithal. Those who are running from opposition, for instance, the PDP runs elections, and some of the party are called and all of those ones. One, as we speak, the PDP was almost in a state of commerce at the time of the elections. In Lagos, there were nationally there were controversies. The judgment of the Supreme Court just came in. Before the judgment came in, the other faction, the Sheriff faction, had presented candidates for PDP. The McAfee faction came up and said, we do not have candidates for the election. Had the State Electoral Commission been biased, they naturally wouldn't have allowed the PDP candidates to run elections.
All right, let's take the issue of full autonomy to local government councils if the state electoral commissions are scrapped. Do you agree with those who are calling for the Dogara, for example, and the former Vice President Atiku have said that we need to scrap the CX so that the local council can have full autonomy?
Well, I don't have problem with scrapping the Joint Allocations Committee, the JAC. I don't have problem. I believe that the local government should have autonomy. I believe that they should have independence of their financial resources. But then one thing that also must be cured in the process is that you must also, because because the local government is recognized as a third tier of government, so it is independent. You also, in a section of the constitution, also make the local government a creation of the state. So that conflict must be resolved. But I don't have problem with giving local government autonomy in terms of finances. It will allow them to, but also the caution to also note is that they've had this autonomy in the past. How well has the autonomy been used? Some abuse the autonomy. Some, even you saw teachers demonstrating all over the federation to say that even if you give local government autonomy, do not allow salaries of teachers to be placed in their hands. Because when they had the autonomy, they abused it. Some local government were only 8 months, 18 months salaries of teachers.
Well, states are still owing salaries.
Yes,
so is it not a modification of the systems themselves that is required?
I agree. What I'm saying is that I support local government autonomy financially, but I also stand a note of caution that the various people at the grassroots must be responsible. They must be responsive to people's call, and they must also take the responsibility as a third tier of government as a matter of performance, as a matter of service to the people. There are some kind of abuses within the local government system, but that also is explainable because it's the nearest to the people. You don't need to pay for tithes or for cab to get to the local. Everybody takes a walk to their various councils, and when you get to the various councils, go and visit the office of the chairman. You see a lot of people hanging around. It becomes the hangers out. The chairmen are over-bottled the responsibility. But I have come to say that while giving autonomy, you must also look at the revenue sharing. You must look at sharing more funding to various states and local government as against giving the largest sums of money of the allocation to the federal government. Okay,
Adeboye Kalejai, thank you very much. I would have loved to really continue with this because there are so many aspects of this that we would like to talk about, but time wouldn't permit us to go further. But thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, viewers.